So this is the Town of Conception Bay South Committee of the Whole meeting for February 11th. And we'll start the meeting, as we always do, with our safety moment. And I believe, Councillor Moores, you've prepared a safety moment for tonight.
Thank you, Mayor Ben. With, I guess, our recent snowfall, and hopefully more to come, because I am a snow person. So just a reminder to make sure you do not park your cars on the side of the road, because we need to be able to get our snow plows through, and we don't want any damaged vehicles. And it makes it very difficult to get the roads cleared properly when there's cars in the way. So reminder that our parking ban is in effect now. And if you could please make sure you park where you're supposed to park during the winter snow clearing hours. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Moores. Next up, the land acknowledgement. The Town of Conception Bay South would like to respectfully acknowledge the territory in which we gather as the ancestral homelands of the Beothuk, and the island of Newfoundland as the ancestral homelands of the Mi'kmaq and Beothuk. We also respectfully acknowledge Labrador as the traditional and ancestral homelands of the Innu of Nitassinan, the Inuit of Nunatsiavut, and the Inuit of Nunatuavut. We strive for respectful partnerships with all the peoples of this province as we search for collective healing and true reconciliation and honor this beautiful land together. Okay, we'll skip right along. I believe, do we have to, oh yes, we have to move the agenda for this evening. So if someone wants to move that, that would be Councillor Connors, and seconded by Councillor Hillier. All in favor? Contrary minded? And I'll wait now for the vote to come up electronically. There we go. And we'll move to adopt the minutes from the previous Committee of the Whole meeting, moved by Councillor Butler, seconded by Councillor Moores. All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried? Okay, thank you. And next up, Finance and Admin. I believe that's Deputy Mayor Andrea Goss this evening.
Thanks, Mayor. Thank you, Mayor Bent. There are a few items here under Finance and Administration this evening. They are bylaws and policies. The first one is a Fire Department bylaw. Be it so resolved that the Fire Department bylaw be adopted as presented. So moved.
Do we have a seconder? We do. Councillor Moores, discussion?
So as per the new Towns and Local Service District Act that came into effect January 1st, all municipalities are required to have a fire department bylaw. So this was developed to fulfill that requirement, and it outlines the duties, definitions, duties, services, and responsibilities of our fire department. So it's quite concise, and it's there, for anyone to have a look at. So I want to thank Fire Chief Heffernan and for bringing this together. So we're bringing that forward this evening.
Any other discussion? No, that's great that our fire department was involved and helped along with this. Anything further? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
Sorry, I'm stalled here. The next item is our residential waste bylaw. And that is, be it so resolved that the residential waste bylaw be adopted as presented. So moved.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Tilley, discussion?
And again, this is a bylaw that is under the requirements of our new act, that there are a few amendments. So in this, from the bringing this from regulation to a bylaw, that cover types of bags for our waste, and regulations around containers and what is permittable. So, I mean, we have the wheeled containers now, which we didn't have under the last regulation. So those amendments are there. So if anybody has any questions or around their garbage waste, it's all outlined quite clear.
Yeah, the bylaw reflects what we're actually doing now, not
Exactly.
what we did a few years back, right?
It's up to date.
Yeah. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Contrary minded? Carried.
Okay. The next item is water disruption policy. Or be it so resolved that the water disruption policy be adopted as presented. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Hardy. Discussion?
This is, sorry, I had a vote there. This is to establish guidelines to process requests for municipal water disruptions within the town of Conception Bay South. So it's clearly outlined whether it's for infrastructure upgrades, development, whatever it is, there's an outline, there's clear policy around water disruption.
And how to handle it and notices and all that, yeah.
All, exactly, all those fine details.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
And the last item is a traffic disruption policy. Be it so resolved that the traffic disruption policy be adopted as presented. So moved.
Seconder. Councillor Barrett. Discussion?
And this has also been amended to reflect, our previous policy was a road closure policy, and that will be if there was any reason for construction, development, whatnot, that a road had to be closed. There was a policy for that, but sometimes there is just a disruption or a rerouting of traffic or road down to just one lane for whatever reason. And so there was no policy around that. So now this policy is a traffic disruption policy, which will take in closures or any kind of disruption of traffic. So again, for all the guidelines and any type of development, construction, anything of that sort, and this is the policy that governs that.
Any third parties doing things in the town that disrupts traffic now has a policy to follow, and that's good. Any further discussion on that one? All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried.
And that's it for finance and admin. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Next up is Engineering and Public Works, and that is, I believe, Councillor Hillier this evening.
Your Worship, this evening I want to bring forward and table a couple of studies that we've done. The first one being the Billy Brook Stormwater Study. Your Worship, as you're aware, Billy Brook flows from approximately the west intersection of Seal Cove Road and Route 60 down through Seal Cove and empties into Seal Cove Pond. Where there's development, there has been significant localized flooding over the past year. So we've gone through the process of doing a study on the flow of Billy Brook all the way from Route 60 down through Seal Cove to see if we can alleviate some of that flooding. The scope of work for the study was, one, to identify any obstructions, two, a hydraulic model of the stream, three, the capacity of existing culverts, four, recommendations for upgrades, and five, cost estimates. Some of the results, I guess the obvious one was that there are 11 culverts in the brook that are undersized and affecting flooding as we get heavy rains. So the study came back with two options. One, that we replace the culverts, or two, that we reduce the flow of water entering Billy Brook. And I guess that's the second part of the study that we're bringing forward this evening. That is Billy Brook Stormwater Retention Pond Evaluation, a technical memo. So we're just tabling these this evening. We'll deal with the recommendations going forward, and of course there are financial ramifications with it all as well. So I just want to bring these forward and present them this evening. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you. Any other discussion on this? Yes,
Yes, Your
Councillor Hardy.
Worship. Just want to add a couple more comments to Councillor Hillier there. Thank you for bringing that forward. We have had a lot of residents in the Seal Cove area watching the Billy Brook study and really looking forward to see how we move forward with it. When you speak about the culverts, the 11 culverts, most of those are actually on private property. So as you can appreciate, that would be a significant undertaking. But if council were to move forward with a adopting the report as it comes in. We currently have 3 applications that are deferred with our planning development departments. We have 2 new builds and an accessory building. So if we were to move forward with the adoption of the report, we'd be able to further look into those particular files and hopefully be able to move forward. But again, as soon as we're able to move forward with the adoption, then we'd be able to work with the residents that are currently deferred. So looking forward to be able to move some of those files along. Thank you.
Anyone else on the Billy Brook?
Just, not specifically the Billy Brook, Your Worship, but this is the second one, I believe, second study that we've done like this. We did one in recent years on the Lawrence Pond flooding or water coming out of Lawrence Pond. And the next one that's on our list, I believe, is the Kelligrews River flooding, the issues with Kelligrews River, certainly upstream, and some of the issues that are there. And this is the same type of study that we will be bringing forward once that study is done.
And it's important to have these studies done so that we can assess these water issues and see how this council, next council, and councils downstream, I guess, want to handle the issues and to see if they want to designate funding and so forth to work to resolve some of the issues. But in the meantime, it allows some of the applications we have sitting on the table to actually possibly be able to move in some way or another. So that's good. All right, thank you, Councillor Hillier. That's not a recommendation, that's just a tabling. So we'll move on to planning and development if there's nothing else for Billy Brook. No, okay. So, Councillor Tilley.
Excuse me, Mayor Bent, I have to declare a conflict here as this file is relevant to company that I own.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Okay. Since it's a public meeting, the deputy mayor can move to the back of the room out of the forum and stay at the meeting. Okay. So, Councillor Tilley, take it away.
Thank you, Your Worship. We have 1 development application and just 2 extra planning items. So item 7A, 203 Redbridge Road. Be it so resolved that in accordance with sections 10.7, 10.27, and 3.16 of the town's development regulations, and notwithstanding the nonconformity with section 10.27.5 of the town's development regulations, application number COM-24-141, proposing to continue operation of an existing quarry at 203A Redbridge Road, be approved as a continuation of the quarry use would not increase the nonconformity. So moved.
Do we have a seconder tonight? Yes, Councillor Hillier. Discussion?
Yes, Your Worship. I'm sure, as a lot of people recall, at the last public meeting, I presented a petition on behalf of over 100 residents in that particular area regarding their, I guess, they wish the application not be approved. One of that reason, plus one of my big ones, is that we have substantial recreation facilities in that particular area. And while in the wintertime it's probably not as popular, but in the summer it's very popular, and we have a high amount of population and kids that use that particular area. And you know, I'd be hesitant to support this application as it currently stands right now. If we had sidewalks in that area, I'd probably certainly reconsider that. But as it stands right now, I'm going to be voting against the application.
Any other comments?
I got a few comments. This is a tough one. Basically, when I sat down and started to review the file and everything that came with it, from information from residents, and I spoke to a number of residents on it and staff, it came down to me: is this a new quarry or is this an existing quarry with just new ownership? And I heard from residents with concerns about the safety concerns, and they're legitimate concerns. And I heard from residents with Nugent's Field how it could impact there. And they're all really legitimate concerns. But at the end of the day, when I sat down and looked at it, this is a quarry that's been in operation, I think, since 1998 and 2003. The applicant is applying to combine two of those quarries into one, so it's no new land involved. It's a quarry that's been already operational, and it is a quarry that's been operated by, say, a father, and he's passing it along to his son. Unfortunately, there's no ability within the guidelines of the provincial government to transfer ownership or the title to the permit, and they were directed to let the permit lapse and put in a new application. So although technically it is a new application, it is the same family that's operating this, and it's just a transfer within that family, or that same business, I should say. So that's one side of it, and I do listen to the residents and the concerns, and I think going forward, we really need to take into consideration. We need to look at, and this permit is for 1 year, so we really need to look at improving and mitigating some of the safety concerns that residents have in that area. As Councillor Hilly just mentioned, do we need to put sidewalks in there? Do we need to try to widen the road a bit? There are trucks that are going back and forth. One of the concerns that were raised by residents were that the blasting. But in speaking to the proponent and staff, a blast is done once every 3 years, I think is what the blast takes place, and the proponent is willing to notify residents and do the proper notification and everything for that. So I will be supporting this tonight. I feel that it's already an operating quarry that is just transferring ownership. So I will be supporting this tonight.
Thank you, Councillor Connors. Did anyone else want to speak to this application?
Sorry.
Yeah, so Councillor Hillier, you go ahead.
Yes, Your Worship. I agree with a lot of the things that Councillor Connors had to say. We've dealt with 2 quarries in the last month, I guess. One was at Redbridge Road. The application was for a new quarry. Our concern was that a new quarry with new activity and increased activity would affect traffic and safety and so on Redbridge Road. So we chose not to approve that new quarry. The other quarry was up in the Seal Cove area, where we had a family member transferring it to another family member. And there was no change in the quarry, no change in operations, so we chose to approve that. And that's, I think, what we have here tonight. We've got a quarry that's been run for almost 30 years by one member of the family. It's being transferred, and as Councillor Connor said, there's no vehicle to just transfer it. It has to go through the province and go through a new permitting process. But there's no change in the activity. There's no change in the size of it. There's no change, there's no increase in the use of it, and there's no increased traffic on Redbridge Road as a result. And I think those are the concerns that we're looking at here this evening, so I'll be supporting it.
Excuse me, Councillor Hillier just said exactly what I was going to say. So I just want to, I guess, somewhat repeat what he said, that, there's nothing changing here. It's just a transfer of ownership. No increased activity, the same as it has been. So I also will be supporting this tonight.
Anyone else? Yep, Councillor Hardy.
Thank you, Your Worship. And similar to my fellow councillors, I will also be supporting this. We've spoke to, I guess, the gentleman or the owner who's looking to bring in the new permit application. And when you read through the file, it is transferring two smaller quarries into one. It's the same materials that are going to be removed from the site, very similar to what we did a couple of weeks ago with the quarry in Seal Cove. So I don't know how, in my opinion, you would treat this one any different than the previous one that we did approve. Councillor Hilliard did allude to the one that we didn't deny or not approve a few weeks ago, and that was because it was a new quarry and it would be adding additional traffic and vehicles in the area. Whereas this one here it is an existing quarry, been there, I think I read somewhere 35 plus years. It's transferring from one business company name to, I guess, another business company name, all within the same umbrella of businesses with the family. But to Councillor Connor's comments, looking to mitigate the concerns, when I spoke to the owner putting in the permit, he did reiterate that he has been speaking to his staff and anyone that's in the area to ensure that their speeds are always at the appropriate and even a little bit lower than what the speed limit is. And to my knowledge, I don't think we've had any issues with the enforcement from that perspective. We can certainly follow up with the town clerk when she's back. But I'll be in support of this permit coming forward.
Anyone else like to speak to this?
Yes, Mayor.
Councillor Bowden.
As per my other councillors, I will be voting in favour of this motion, but I would like to point again what Councillor Connors said about safety in the area, and maybe, you know, given the permit is for a year, maybe we can look at improving the safety aspects of that area, and hopefully that might alleviate some concerns. I'll be voting yes.
Anyone else?
Yes, I guess I'll have my say too. Thank you, Your Worship. Just to say, I think context is important here. I was very, heard from folks on this one, the last one we entertained in Red Bridge Road area before Christmas, and it's two totally different things. You can't compare really. The last one before Christmas we rejected. It was a new one. As people identified, there was a lot of different levels of consideration involved regarding increased usage, traffic, blasting, those types of things, whereas this is truly a change of ownership. We're just getting them compliant with the permitting in the town, in the province. And so I am happy to support this evening. I anticipate the proponent anticipates another 7 to 10 years of life for this. I think this is an opportunity for us to review the future of new quarry development applications in the town, as some of my colleagues have mentioned, but as this has been in operation for a while, I'm happy to see this fulfill the remainder of its life. So I will be voting in support. Thank you.
Okay, I think that if I say anyone else, I'm the only one, anyone else left to speak, I suppose, so I'll do that. Just on a couple of things. I read with great interest the concerns raised by, I believe, one of the residents on behalf of many of the other residents, and I have to say that I agree with a number of things that were pointed out. There are other things I don't agree with, and I've spent a lot of time up Red Bridge Road over the past 20 years at the Nugent's Park, and I spend a bit of time up there now at the dog park with the dog. And I understand the concerns, and I know the town, not that long ago, moved to put in speed humps in 2 different places on Red Bridge Road to slow traffic down, and to try to make the place as safe as possible. My experience up there is I see more dirt bikes coming and going than I do heavy equipment. I can hear them in the road a bit, but not up and down the road. But the other thing, too, is that we said as a council a few years back, and it might have been before this one, but I think it's something that this council agrees with. If we have a place in our town that we're sending our residents for recreation or other things, that we have an obligation to ensure that the access to that is a safe one, and it's upgraded as needed. And I agree with Councillor Tilley. He's suggested that his vote might be different if there were sidewalks on Red Bridge Road. It may be something that should be considered next time around, because that is a major major area for people to get involved in recreation. And unfortunately, sometimes the parking overflows and it forces people to walk, down that last end of Red Bridge Road. So in that close area, there may be something that we can do to help with that. The thing that I think about is that this is not a new quarry. This is the exact same quarry that's been operating there since 1998. It's a new application because the last quarry permit expired 9 months ago or 8 months ago, and it's a renewal process that the province needs them to go through. This is not a change. This is not, as Councillor Hillier pointed out, new traffic going down Red Bridge Road. This is the same traffic, and in one conversation with one of the applicants suggested there may be less traffic because of the way they're going to operate going forward. And I hope that's true. But it's important that council be consistent. And I think that the pattern of this council is that if it's something that's been operating, that there's been, over a 30-year period, we wouldn't say all of a sudden to any of the other businesses in town, you need a new permit now, you've been in operation for a while, we're going to come in and make sure that whatever you're selling here is being done properly, and we're going to redo it again and make you do it every year. We wouldn't do that. This is an anomaly because it's a business changing from one to another within the same organization, basically, and the province has asked that this be done. So we're going through that process now. The second thing about that is that this is not new, and we rejected a new one. And I would suggest that anybody coming with an application for a new quarry in CBS is going to be met with some pretty heavy questions going forward. And because that's not something that we are, really looking to get into the expansion of quarries in Conception Bay South. And I think it's something that some of us have echoed for a few years. I know Councillor Hillier has spoken about the ones that unfortunately lie just outside of our boundaries. We got no control over to some degree, so. But anyway, on that note, I do have a concern, and I have spoken to people about it, and that has to do with blasting, and I don't think blasting should happen without proper notice. So I'm going to support this when it comes through next week, but I'll be looking for an addition to it that standard blasting notices go out to residents, and it's my understanding that this company does that anyway. I just like to see it attached so that we're assured that the notices do go out, because I know I've dealt with this sort of thing in the past, and it's been pretty disconcerting for residents when a blast goes off and nobody knew about it. And the company that we dealt with then rectified that situation and started giving proper notices, and and it was much better for the people in the area. But the consistency in this one, like I think other councillors have mentioned with White Hills Pond, it's an operation of a quarry that has been there for decades, and it just wants to continue. So I'll be supporting this application when it goes through. So I think we're looking for a recommendation tonight, Councillor Hillier. So you get final word if you want it, or sorry, Councillor Tilley, you get final word if you want it, or we'll move to a vote.
Would I be allowed to?
Yeah, you go ahead. Yep.
This is, I just want to say, you mentioned dirt bikes. So I just want to say that those are the irresponsible riders in Conception Bay South that are making, that are going in and out. And I know that there is a problem there, and we recognize that. But the responsible riders in Conception Bay South, I just want to put it out there that everybody in Conception Bay South is not irresponsible, like some of the people going in and out Red Bridge Road. The other thing that I wanted to just say is, I think it's time in our town that we do look at a designated area or area where quarries would be acceptable, because in order for development to happen, the developers and our construction companies need to have materials in order to be able to do it. And I think that as a town that's pro-development and looking to develop our different areas of our town, that we should look at somewhere where where quarries are acceptable. End of Red Bridge Road, I'm not sure if that's the area. I don't think that it is.
I'm sure it's not.
Well, I'm sure that it's not too. So, but I'll let someone else determine that from an expert level, I guess. And So I think that we need to really take that into consideration, that we need to find an area in Conception Bay South for our developers to be able to continue to develop within our town.
Okay, or close to in another jurisdiction, maybe. Councillor Tilley, would you like to finish this up?
Yeah, I'd just like to end off thanking my council colleagues. Just by all the information that everyone spoke to tonight, it's obvious that everyone cares deeply about this town, and of course, I guess they read up on the situation, and it's just great to see that you know, we can have dialogue at the end of the day. We're always not going to agree on every single item, so we'll see where it goes at the next public meeting.
Okay, so I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Contrary minded?
Nay.
So please note that there is one nay. Carried. Councillor Tilley, you have some other stuff.
Yeah, 7B, planning items.
Hold on 1 second now, Councillor Tilley. The deputy mayor is joining the
I'm sorry.
meeting again. Yeah.
Just a bit confusing, they say 7B, planning items, and I got to say A. 7A, disposal of town land, Maya Place. Be it so resolved that in accordance with Section 190 of the Towns and Local Service Districts Act, that approximately 113 square meters of land located at 118 Maya Place be sold to the adjacent property owner for economic development purposes. So moved.
Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Butler, discussion?
Yes, Your Worship, this is town-owned land that the town no longer needs, so we entered into an agreement for sale with the applicant.
Okay. Anyone else? All
I
in
just
favor?
want to clarify, I think that's 18 Maya Place, not 118. Just want to clarify.
That is correct, Councillor, and the recommendation says 118, so can we make sure that's changed to reflect the proper address?
We've been having trouble with numbers the last couple
Yep.
of meetings, haven't we? Okay, no worries. Okay, so all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Carried, thank you.
7B, rezoning of number 961 and 963, Conception Bay Highway. Be it so resolved that under the authority of Section 24 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000, the Town Council of Conception Bay South approves the Conception Bay South Municipal Plan Amendment Number 37, 2024, and Development Regulations Amendment Number 59, 2024, as adopted. So moved.
Do we have a seconder? Yep, Councillor Hillier, discussion?
Yes, Your Worship, this was an application from a business owner to, I guess, relocate his business not far from where he actually resides. Unfortunately, at that time, the zoning didn't allow that, so he requested to go through the zoning process, and of course, we went through several different avenues. We had a public consultation session earlier on, and we had another public consultation session with an independent commissioner. There was no, I guess, negative feedback or no replies for people wanting to speak, so we actually postponed that. So we're just following this process, and we're going to recommend adoption of the rezoning.
Sorry, that's down in the area of the old Pro Farm, right, in that corner?
Yep, that's correct. The old Pro Farm now, I believe, is a HVAC. At the original application, that was not included, but we said where it's all in that one particular area, we made it a block.
Right, in the ambulance park there as well.
Yeah, the old Fior's Ambulance Building, and of course, the old Pro Farm Garden Supplies.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. All in favor? Contrary minded? Carried? Okay, thank you.
That's it from planning.
Yep, thank you, Councillor Tilley. That's the full agenda for this evening, so I'll ask for a motion for adjournment. Councillor Hillier, seconded by Councillor Hardy. All in favor? Okay, thank you, and we'll be back again next week for the public meeting on the 18th of February. Thank you.